Don't blame your own parents. As the years pass and we find ourselves with more time to reflect, it's natural to look back on our upbringing and wonder how things might have been different. We may think, if only my father had been more present, or if only my mother had been more understanding. These thoughts come from a place of pain and longing, perhaps even truth. But when we speak them aloud to our children, we do more than just share our memories. We pass down our burdens. Our parents, like us, were imperfect people doing the best they could with what they knew at the time. They made mistakes. So did we. To dwell on their shortcomings and speak of them with blame doesn't heal the past. It keeps it alive in a way that weighs down the future. And when we express those regrets in front of our children, we're not just telling our story, we're teaching them something. We teach them that it's acceptable to hold on to resentment, to look backward with anger instead of forward with hope. This unspoken lesson can settle deep in their hearts, causing them to carry a quiet fear that one day they too will be blamed. That their efforts, no matter how sincere, may never be enough. But we have a choice. We can choose to model grace instead of blame. We can say, my parents weren't perfect, but they loved me in the best way they could. That kind of perspective brings peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it doesn't excuse real pain. But it frees us and our children from a cycle that no longer serves us. In showing compassion to the past, we offer something beautiful to the future, a legacy of understanding, not bitterness. And that, in the end, may be the greatest gift we give. Don't speak ill of your spouse. Marriage, over time, carries with it seasons of joy and sorrow, growth and hardship. After decades together, it's only human to carry memories that don't always shine. You may remember sharp words, quiet resentments, or moments of feeling unseen. But when we speak these frustrations out loud to our children, especially when they are shared casually in passing or out of wariness, we risk more than we realize. Our children, no matter how old, still carry a picture of their family in their hearts. It may not be perfect, but it is deeply rooted. When we say things like, I could have done better, or I stayed for the kids, we begin to chip away at that image. What may seem like harmless honesty can leave them questioning the foundation they once trusted. Even grown children can feel unsettled, even guilty, for not having noticed the pain we now choose to name. And more than that, our spouse is not just our partner, they are also our children's other parent. To criticize them is to put our children in a painful position, whether they show it or not. They may feel torn between love and loyalty, unsure whether to speak up, stay silent, or carry the discomfort into their own relationships. Instead, we can choose to honor the fuller truth. Yes, there were struggles, but there was also endurance. Perhaps there was laughter, shared burdens, quiet kindnesses that never made it into stories. A sentence as simple as, "We had our ups and downs, but we did our best," holds grace. It preserves dignity and offers your children a version of love that is real, resilient, and still whole in its own way. In doing so, we protect not only their memories, but their hearts. And in the end, that's what lasts. Don't compare your children to each other. As parents, it's natural to notice differences between our children. One may be more attentive, another more ambitious. One calls every week, another drifts in and out. And sometimes, in moments of frustration or longing, we let a comment slip. Your sister never forgets my birthday. Or, why can't you be more like your brother? We don't say it to harm, but words like these land with more weight than we realize. When we compare our children, even gently, we send a quiet message that our love is something to be earned, not freely given. The child who is praised may feel pressure to always meet that high bar. The one being compared may retreat inward, convinced they are somehow less loved, less accepted, less enough. These subtle wounds can grow silently. They don't just impact the parent-child relationship, but also the bond between siblings. What could have been a source of lifelong support becomes a quiet competition. Instead of warmth, there is distance. Instead of unity, there is unease. But the truth is, each child is their own story. One may take longer to bloom, another may stumble more along the way. Still, each one carries a heart that longs to be seen and loved, not for who they are not, but for who they are. When we speak to them, let us say, "I see your effort," or "I'm proud of your heart." These simple affirmations are powerful. They don't rank. They don't compare, they heal. As we grow older, we have the chance to become not only wiser, but gentler. To let each child know that your love isn't measured, weighed, or earned, it simply is. And that, perhaps more than anything else, is what they will carry with them long after we are gone. Don't constantly complain about aging, society, or health. Growing older comes with its share of challenges. Our bodies ache in ways they didn't before. The world seems to spin faster, and sometimes it feels like we've been left behind. It's easy to find ourselves sighing more, shaking our heads at the news, or talking about the discomforts that follow us from morning to night. And while it's only human to want to express what we're feeling, constant complaints, especially around our children, can leave unintended marks. Our children love us. They listen, even when they seem distracted. And what they hear over time isn't just the content of our words, but the weight behind them. When every visit or phone call becomes a litany of ailments or frustrations with the world, they begin to carry that emotional load with us. They may not say it, but it wears on them. It can make them anxious, even guilty, because they can't fix what's hurting us. This doesn't mean we must suffer in silence, but it does mean being mindful of how we speak and when. There's a difference between confiding and unloading. A thoughtful moment of sharing can invite connection, while repeated complaining can create distance. Our children want to feel that we are okay, that we are still anchored in strength and perspective, even when life gets harder. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, we can choose to highlight small joys, simple gratitudes, or even quiet acceptance. "It's been a hard week, but I'm getting through," can mean the world to a child who wants nothing more than to know their parent is still resilient. We can give our children the gift of peace by choosing our words with care, by letting them know we're navigating this season with as much grace as we can, and by remembering that sometimes the quiet strength we carry is more comforting than anything we could ever say. Don't depend on your children passively. There comes a time in life when we begin to lean more on routines, on memories, and often on the people closest to us. It's a natural shift. But when that leaning becomes a quiet expectation placed on our children, it can create burdens neither side intended. Whether it's emotional support or financial help, relying too heavily and too often on our children can strain even the most loving relationships. They may never voice it, but beneath their kindness may be a quiet pressure, a worry that they must always be strong, always available, always able to fix what's wrong. That weight can wear on them. It can turn love into obligation and care into fatigue. But needing help is not weakness. We all do at some point. The difference lies in how we ask. A gentle, "if it's not too much trouble," or "only if you have room to help," allows our children the space to support us freely, not out of guilt or duty. It gives them the dignity of choice and us the dignity of self-awareness. And while we ask, we can still do what we can, whether it's managing our own finances as best we can, staying socially connected, or simply tending to our own emotional well-being. Each step we take to maintain our independence, no matter how small, sends a message. I value your love, but I don't expect you to carry me. In doing so, we foster not only respect, but a deeper, more mutual bond. Our children feel honored, not burdened. And we, in turn, preserve the quiet pride of being capable, thoughtful, and considerate, even in the most vulnerable seasons of our lives. Don't share every detail about illness and fear. As we age, health becomes a more frequent topic in our lives. Doctor visits increase, new symptoms arise, and quiet fears settle in. It's only natural to want someone to talk to, someone who will listen and care, and who better than our children, who love us deeply. But sometimes, in our search for comfort, we forget the weight our words can carry. When we share every ache, every test result, every worry about what might be, we risk overwhelming those we love most. Our children want to help, but they can't fix what's happening in our bodies. And when they hear constant updates filled with uncertainty and fear, it can leave them feeling helpless, anxious, even guilty for not being able to do more. This doesn't mean we should keep our struggles a secret. If something is serious or requires their support, they should absolutely be included. But we can choose when and how we share. Not every sleepless night or fleeting pain needs to be passed along. Some things can stay between us and our doctors, or simply within the quiet strength we carry inside. Instead, we can offer our children what they need most: reassurance. A calm, "I'm keeping an eye on it," or "there's nothing urgent, just taking care of myself," lets them know we are aware, responsible, and still anchored in our own care. It tells them we are not ignoring our health, but neither are we letting fear define us. This kind of balance is a gift. It allows our children to remain close without being consumed. It honors their love while protecting their peace. And it reminds us gently that strength often means knowing what to hold and what to release. In silence, there can be wisdom. In restraint, deep love. Don't make your children feel guilty for living their own lives. There's a quiet ache that can come with watching our children grow into their own lives. The phone calls become less frequent, the visits shorter, the routines more distant from ours. It's easy to wonder if we've been forgotten, or if the love we poured into them has faded with time. But more often than not, the truth is far simpler. They are simply becoming who they need to be. Their distance is not a reflection of how little they care, but of how much life is asking of them. Careers, children, responsibilities, these things pull them in many directions. And in the midst of it all, they carry our love with them, even if it's not always spoken or shown in the ways we wish. Still, we can sometimes unintentionally make them feel guilty. A quiet sigh when they cancel a visit, a remark like, "You never have time for me anymore." These words, though honest, come with a weight. They can turn love into obligation and presence into pressure. And that's not the kind of closeness we want. Instead, we can choose something gentler. We can say, "I'm proud of the life you're building," or "I always cherish the time we do have." In doing so, we give our children the freedom to come to us not out of duty, but out of desire. We become a place of rest, not responsibility. Every call, every hug, every moment together becomes a gift. Not something owed, but something freely given. And in that freedom, love grows deeper, not weaker. By releasing them from guilt, we give them room to return with joy. And we remind ourselves that love, when truly given, never needs to chase. It simply waits, welcomes, and endures. As we grow older, the love we carry for our children doesn't fade. It deepens, softens, and takes on new forms. But with that love comes the wisdom to know that not everything must be said. Sometimes, silence, chosen with care, is the greatest act of love we can offer. By choosing not to blame our parents, we break the chain of resentment. By speaking kindly or staying silent about our spouse, we protect the foundation our children were raised on. By refusing to compare our children, we honor each of their unique journeys. By letting go of constant complaints, we create peace in our relationships. By asking for help with dignity, not demand, we preserve mutual respect. By sharing our health struggles thoughtfully, we shield our children from unnecessary worry. And by releasing them from guilt, we allow them to live freely and to return freely, with love, not out of duty. This stage of life isn't about saying more, it's about saying what matters. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can say is simply, "I love you, I trust you, and I'm still learning how to love better every day." You are not forgotten. Your quiet presence, your gentle strength, and your grace leave a lasting legacy. Thank you for choosing love, not just in words, but in the silence that heals.